This is my first time sharing a personal experience on Reddit like this, and it honestly isn't really much of a story at all, compared against the rest of the happenings in any similar subreddit. However, as someone who appreciates reading through everyone else's bizarre and paranormal experiences, I figured I would go ahead and share anyways in case it was of any interest. The experience occurred when I was in about 3rd or 4th grade elementary school US. I want to say it was 4th grade based on the classroom I believe I was in at the time, but of course this is now almost 20 years ago, so the memory isn't totally clear. So let's say when I was about 9-10 years old. It was about midday, and it was any normal day at school. What I remember happening is watching the lesson and looking to my left out the big windows in the classroom, and all of a sudden what I perceived to be a military helicopter has hovered down out next to the window. And it was so vivid I remember I could see the pilot in the helicopter look out into the window towards us. That is the entire memory. I do not remember anything specific that happened during or after that moment, but it was all very brief, one of those moments that is so quick in real time, but is so strange or out of place that it feels like forever in your head. I specifically remember it being a military or similar style craft because it had a cockpit sort of like an Apache attack helicopter, where rather than side by side the pilots are stationed on top of each other, so to speak. Now, I was younger at the time, so my exposure to those sorts of things would have to have been fairly minimal since my parents were not super strict, but I definitely wasn't playing or watching anything super violent or adult at the time. Mostly stuff like Star Wars, etc. But in my memory, it was definitely something resembling an Apache attack helicopter or similar style craft. This was on the 2nd level of the school, and it looked out to the back area where there was a blacktop, a large playground, a field, and another smaller playground. It is entirely plausible that something like that could have fit there. It was a wide open space, but at the time I was young, so it did not completely register with me just how crazy and bizarre such an occurrence would have been. But looking back now, there is no way something like that would be legal or go unnoticed. I remember being at home with my parents in the following day, and I specifically remember this because it was one of the first times I got in trouble for swearing, because I was explaining to my father the experience and got so excited, and I remember saying the pilot was so bleep close I could see his helmet's visor's face or something along those lines, and he got upset with me for saying damn because I was young. My only explanation is that I fell asleep and dreamed the experience. However, I was never tired or lacking sleep. Falling asleep in class is something that never happened to me ever, so all possible it would have been very uncharacteristic of me to do. Also, the teacher or fellow classmates would see me sleeping instantly and scold me or wake me. So the falling asleep theory does not hold so much weight to me, but is the only logical explanation at the end of the day. Another possibility is that one night in my sleep I dreamed the entire being at school experience, and having this happen to me plot and completely got it confused with real life. But again, while I have always been a vivid dreamer, nothing like that had ever happened to me before, and would also have been very uncharacteristic of me to do so. Reading other stories here about screen memory sort of made me remember this experience again, because I partly wonder if I actually witnessed something extraterrestrial, experimental, or the like, and the closest memory I had that could fill in the blank, so to speak, was a military-esque helicopter. That would partly explain why no one else reacted, or at the time, I possibly briefly forgot the experience until digging the memory back up at a later time. This is definitely a super vivid memory that I still remember in my head. Like I said earlier when explaining to my father how close it was to the window and how detailed the visual was of the pilot turning in and looking at us, I still can see to this day I have not forgotten any thoughts. It is very likely nothing at all, but maybe there actually was something there that day.